You've just started a new YouTube channel. You conjure up the most creative channel name that your feeble mind can fathom and slap on a cute little PFP to seal the deal. Unless you're one of these guys, freaking weirdos. You have no idea where this thing could go, but nonetheless, you're optimistic. You're aware of all the potential possibilities that this path entails. Virality, money, freedom. Yes. Alright, let's do this. You say to yourself as you prepare to begin your YouTube journey. You record, edit and upload your very first video to the channel. Oh, just that? Well, it's only a given. It's my first video after all. Maybe I'll get lucky next time. So you upload your second video, and your third video, and your fourth video, and your... If you can relate to this scenario, then you may have or may still be going through this phenomenon known as small channel purgatory. Small channel purgatory describes the pitiful state that many channels remain in for a prolonged period of time. It is the state in which a small channel struggles to grow in views and subscribers. No matter how much the creator of the channel endeavors, nothing changes. The creator of the channel uploads more and more videos, increasing the quantity and or quality of his or her videos, but to no avail, hence purgatory. Small channel purgatory is the state that most creators will inevitably face, and it almost always lasts for an indefinitely long amount of time, spanning from a few months to even a few years. Most channels will fall into this state without ever breaking through. Only a few can overcome this seemingly insurmountable roadblock. But before we can conquer this trial, we must first understand why it happens in the first place. When you upload a video, the YouTube algorithm will begin pushing out your video to a small amount of its users. The video will be displayed on the recommendations of such users, and each time the video appears on the user's screen, that is an impression. Impressions are the mechanism through which YouTube gives channels the opportunity to be noticed, both big and small. And the views to impressions ratio is called the click-through rate. So for example, if my video gets 100 impressions and 10 views, then my video has a 10% click-through rate. Y'all up to speed now? Most people who receive an impression of your video will most likely scroll past it. Not one channel on YouTube is exempt from this, not even MrBeast. So if a lot of people ignore your video when it appears on their screen, YouTube won't punish you too harshly for it. However, if a large enough amount of people scroll past your video relative to your amount of impressions, i.e. if you have a small click-through rate, then YouTube will punish your video. Now what do I mean by punish? Essentially, the YouTube system will evaluate the performance of your video, and if the performance is deemed not up to standard, then it will stop pushing out the video, i.e. the video impressions will come to a halt. YouTube is basically saying that your video sucks and nobody cares to click on your video. It does not provide any value to the platform, hence there is no benefit in continuing to push the video out. Of course, there are other factors that play into YouTube's evaluation of your video. For example, if your click-through rate is low but your video engagement is high, then perhaps the low click-through rate can be counterbalanced. But in general, click-through rate is king. And so, if nobody ain't clicking, then nobody ain't watching. And if nobody ain't watching, then YouTube ain't pushing. Game is game. I apologize for the long-winded explanation of how the YouTube algorithm functions, but I believe it's essential in understanding how it hinders smaller channels. Larger channels don't have it as hard. They probably already have a dedicated viewership who avidly awaits each and every one of their uploads. So when they eventually do upload, they will already have a bunch of free easy views from their pre-existing subscribers. Therefore, the click-through rate will be much higher. And when the YouTube system detects a video with a high click-through rate, it grants it more impressions, hence more views, hence more impressions, hence more views. However, smaller channels don't have the luxury of a dedicated fan base. They don't have many subscribers, and even if they do have a decent amount of subscribers, that won't always be reflected in the view counts. In short, nobody knows who you are, and so if you're a virtual nobody, why would anyone gamble their time on the quality of your video when they can click on a video they know they'll enjoy? Now you may be thinking that I'm over-exaggerating. Surely people online can't be that shallow. Wrong. I want you to put yourself in the shoes of a person scrolling through YouTube. You're looking for a good video to watch while you eat your food, when all of a sudden you come across a stray video. You read the title and you think to yourself, this could be worth my time. You look at the views and see that it has only 500 views. Then you look to your right, another video, and you think to yourself, that looks interesting. But instead, this one has 500,000 views. Tell me honestly, what video are you clicking on? Succeeding on YouTube is a game of persuasion. You have 3 seconds at most to persuade the average YouTube scroller to click on your video. You need to have an eye-catching thumbnail. You need to have a thought-inducing title. But there's a third and final one that I hear almost nobody talking about. You need credibility. Ethos, pathos, and logos. These are the 3 main methods of persuasion. Persuasion via credibility, persuasion via emotion, and persuasion via reason. As much as I'd love to evaluate pathos and logos, I don't want to make this video too long, so for the sake of your attention span, I'll focus primarily on ethos, as it's often the most overlooked, yet arguably the most integral. I'm going to ask you a series of questions. I'll give you only 2 seconds to answer, so as to make sure that your answers are purely instinctive and authentic. Would you rather learn from a teacher or a student? Would you rather take diet advice from a healthy person or an unhealthy person? Would you rather eat at a 5-star restaurant or at a 2-star restaurant? Would you rather buy from a well-known brand or an obscure one? If you're being completely honest with yourself, then you'd find that most of your answers, if not all of them, favored the more credible options. Tell me I'm wrong. You chose these options because they're more trustworthy, they're more credible, and the same thing applies to YouTube. People are more likely to click on a video with 500,000 views as opposed to a video with only 500. That's just the way we're wired. And this is entirely because of the simple fact that nobody knows you, and no amount of effort can make anybody want to know you, unless your title and thumbnail are just that good that a stray viewer just might consider giving your video a chance. And this segues perfectly into my next topic: effort and chance. As a smaller channel, you simply just have to put in more efforts. A big channel only has to worry about the quality of the video itself, but if you're a small channel, or you're just starting out, or both, then the packaging of your video has to be flawless, unignorable. Again, nobody knows you. You could be the funniest guy on the internet, but if the packaging of your videos are shite, then you're really just wasting your efforts. And let's say some unfortunate soul does come across your video and actually clicks. There's no guarantee they're gonna stay past 30 seconds. Remember, when a person clicks on a video with a low view count, they're giving the video a chance. They want to see what you got. But if you fail to meet a certain threshold of expectations quick enough, then you're ruthlessly disqualified from the contest. So yeah, being a small channel sucks. As much as I'd love to believe that the mere greatness of a product will suffice in enabling it to be noticed, that's just not how the world works. You need to almost advertise yourself, market yourself. And so, if you want to escape small channel purgatory, then listen up. Just a disclaimer, I only have like 600 subscribers, so take everything I say with a grain of salt. Just make good videos. If you want a strong fan base, then simply just make good videos. That's all it takes to capture the hearts of the people. However, if you also want to capture the attention of the people, then you need to have good thumbnails. You see, most of you guys' thumbnails are ass. You know who you are. The first thing a person sees is the thumbnail. How are you not gonna make sure it's as good as it possibly can be? You have no right to complain about small channel purgatory if your thumbnails look like someone with a faulty bowel movement just choked down 10 laxatives. Another factor to consider is the editing. Notice how I didn't lump in video editing with making a good video, because a video's value isn't determined by the prowess of its editing. However, it still plays a big role. You don't need to be a Mr. Beast type editor. Your video just needs to be well put together. You don't need crazy sound or visual effects. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but it's just not necessary. In fact, most of my favorite YouTubers have a very simple editing style. But in short, just make good videos. That will serve as the backbone for your growth on YouTube.
Stay young, beautiful, and unique. I appreciate that, my heart.